I'm Jasmine. I'm also joined by Ian. I'll be starting off the session and then passing over to Ian, who is going to show you how to allocate Rhino Readers with learner logins in action. So just a run through of the session today. We're going to begin with our introduction, an overview and signposting. So I'm going to show you an overview of our learner logins, my Rhino Readers library, and signpost you to some really key resources that might be useful. I'll then pass over to Ian, who is going to show you my Rhino Readers library in action, how to set it up and what it looks like for your learners. And then at the end, there will be time for any questions. So as Louise mentioned, please put any questions you may have in the chat and there'll be time to answer them at the end of today's session. So just to begin with, an overview of the digital products and learner logins. So within Twinkl Phonics, as an Ultimate member, you can set up learner logins. They give your learners direct access to a range of Twinkl's digital products. Now within Twinkl, there are a number of digital products that you can allocate to your learners. The main ones focused for Twinkl Phonics is Twinkl Phonics for Web and my Rhino Readers library. And today we're going to be focusing on my Rhino Readers library and how to set this up using your learner logins. So what is my Rhino Readers library? It's a way that you can allocate specific books for individual learners or groups of learners. It enables your learners to open and read my Rhino Readers on any device using their learner login. So this means that learners can access my Rhino Readers libraries and their books in school or at home on any device. So it's a way that you can allocate books, ebooks for learners to read on any device using their learner login. So how to get started with my Rhino Readers library? Well, first you need to log into Twinkl using your Ultimate membership details. And then you need to set up your learner logins. Now, Ian is going to run through in a moment with you how to set up your learner logins. Once your learner logins are set up, you need to go to the My Resources section of the website. And then you'll be able to see on the left-hand side, lots of different icons to select, and you need to select My Rhino Readers Admin on the left-hand side of the page. Once you've selected My Rhino Readers Admin, it will take you to a page which looks like this. So you can see all the different levels at the top, and you can see all the books within that level and your learners on the left-hand side. So you can filter by unit. So for level 1, you can see the units there. So unit 1 to 4. And then you can choose the group or learner you want to allocate the book for, and you can select the book. And then when they log into my Rhino Readers library, they'll be able to see the book they've allocated. So it gives you that control of the books that you're allocating for your learners. So they haven't got access to all the levels, all the different books. You're ensuring that they're working through those books at the correct pace alongside their Twinkl Phonics progression and learning as well. So that's level 1, so you can filter by units. For levels 2 up to level 6, you can filter by sub-levels. So there for level 2, you can see you can filter by level 2A, level 2B, level 2C. So it correlates directly with that progression in Twinkl Phonics to ensure that learners are getting books they can decode with the sounds and the tricky or common exception words that they've been taught in their Twinkl Phonics lessons as well. So here are some useful resources. Now, these slides will be sent to you after this session, and you will be able to click on these hyperlinks here to access these resources. So we've got lots of useful resources to help you. So some are with setting up your learner login. So there's a guide, a visual instructions guide, a digital product guide with all the digital products within Twinkl. There's also a letter that is editable for parents or carers. This is really useful because it allows parents and carers to know their learner login for their child, but also what digital products they've been allocated as well. And there's also a My Rhino Readers library blog, which will be really useful to read, which tells you lots more information about setting up learners with My Rhino Readers library. So what does it look like for your learners? So this is our learner journey. So learners will log in at www.twinkl.co.uk/learn using their learner login details, which Ian will show you how to access in a moment. Once they have logged in using their learner logins, they will see all the digital products they have been allocated. And if they have been allocated books on My Rhino Readers library, they will see the My Rhino Readers library icon there and be able to click on it. And then once they've clicked on that icon, learners will be able to see the books that they have been allocated. So the books that you have selected for them to be able to access on any device. And then they will be able to open a book which looks a little bit like this. So in your books, there are lots of lovely features to Rhino Readers. I've picked out a few here. So you've got your before reading pages, so an opportunity for your learners to practice those GPCs, the sounds, tricky or common exception words, focus words that are within that book, so that real consolidation before they delve into the book. You can have the sound on or off. There's support for adults throughout, which you'll be able to see in a moment. So it's really guided for parents and carers at home as well. You can have auto turn, which means that it turns by itself instead of the learners having to press the next page. You can switch this on or off. And there's also after reading pages as well. So some lovely comprehension style questions and activities for your learners to be able to do at the end of the book. So I'll show you a level 2 book and what it will look like for your learners accessing it through My Rhino Readers library.
Rhino Readers, powered by Twinkl. Dig and tap. Before reading, say the sounds. If your child needs help, point to the picture and read the word to them. S, t, p, n, d, g, k, m, k, I, o, a. Read the focus words. Encourage your child to say each sound, then blend to read the word. Dig, tap, Kit, Sam. Kit and Sam in a pit. Dig, tip. Pat and tap. Top. After reading, read these pages to your child and complete the activities together. Look at the pictures and retell the story. Rhino Challenge! Design your own castle. You could have a go at making it. What could you use? With your finger, help Kit and Sam find their way to the sandcastle.
Okay, so that was just an example of one of our books and what it might look like. So there you can see I've had the auto turn on, I've had the sound on, you can switch this off as well. But it's a really nice scaffold model for parents and carers as well, especially at the beginning, practicing those sounds and those tricky or common exception words and focus words that are within the book as well, that correct modelling and guides throughout the book. So some really nice elements of our Rhino Readers books there. And then some other useful resources for My Rhino Readers might be the progression checklist. So you might want to keep this to check which books learners have had, so they're not having the same book again. There's also a really lovely document about how to share a level 1 Rhino Readers books. So some really good guidance about how to go about sharing these level 1 books with learners. There's a guide for parents as well. So this might be something you want to share with parents and carers or send home as well to support them further. And there we've got our class checklist as well there for you to have. So lots of really useful resources, our record sheet there, sorry, at the end for you to keep track. So some useful resources. Ian will be showing you in a moment as well where you can find lots more of these resources on the website. So I will now pass over to Ian, who will show you this all in action.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. And again, a very warm welcome to you this afternoon. So I've got the technical side of things, which I'm very much looking forward to, but I'm sure Jasmine will give me a heads up if anything goes wrong from your perspective, because I'm now going to change screens so that I can see what's going on our Rhino Readers landing page. So I'm currently on, before we actually look at the nuts and bolts of setting up learner logins and allocating Rhino Readers to groups or individuals, we're just going to have a look at the Rhino Readers landing page, which recently has had a little bit of a restructure to make it really clear and make it really easy for you to see what resources are available. So I'm currently on the Rhino Readers landing page, and now towards the very top we have our main core reading scheme. So here in this section where we've got our Rhino Readers EYFS to Key Stage 1 is where you'll find our key Rhino Readers for levels 1 to level 6, and we'll delve into that a little bit deeper in a moment. But here next to it we've also got our Key Stage 2 decoder text as well, and I'll do a light touch on those very shortly. But I'm going to go and click on our EYFS to Key Stage 1 Rhino Readers so we can have a little bit of a closer look at that. So straight away, I find myself on our Rhino Readers core scheme page. And as you can see, I'm starting to look at the level 1 texts. So we have all our up-to-date level 1 text. Just as a reminder, any text that is new is always uploaded first on to the landing page, and then will be made available as a hard copy at some other time. So always do check the Rhino Readers landing page for the most up-to-date ebooks that are available to you, and they're continually being added to. So please check on a regular basis. So here we've got our level 1 text. So if I click on level 1, I can then look at the subsections. So we've got level 1, unit 1, me and my family. 2 is traditional tales, people will help us, and animals. And simply I click on the sub-level I want. So here I've clicked level 1, unit 2, and I've got our traditional tales. So if I click, for example, on this text here, you will see that we're all ready to go to launch the Three Little Pigs with our learners, and you'll see it in a very similar way that Jasmine just showed you in terms of how an e-text is shared on a particular device. If I go back and share this tab once again, if I click on level 2, you will see all our level 2 texts that are available. So as I scroll down, these are all the texts across 2 pages that are available for level 2, but then I can subdivide. So for example, if I want to look at level 3 3C, I click on 3C, and there we go. I can see just all the texts that are available at 3C, and it's very similar for the other levels as well. I will click on a book though, because now once you click on a book, not only from levels 2 to level 6 will you be presented with the ebook itself, but lots of our books now also have our resource packs to accompany. So not only will you see the ebook, you'll also see the fantastic resource packs that we also have available, as I'll share here. So here you can see the ebook that's available, but also we've got our fantastic resource pack that we have available as well. So they're both seen when you click on a particular book now. If I scroll down further, you'll see our Rhino Readers classroom resources, and once I click on that, you'll see a wealth of resources that are also available to supplement the reading books in terms of the guides that Jasmine was talking about, in terms of the progression checklists, etc., etc. So that's where you'll find a wealth of resources. So do have a look at the Rhino Readers landing page for all those fantastic resources. What I will do now is I will change my screen, and we'll have a look at how we're going to actually, first of all, and importantly, allocate learner logins to individual children. So here I'm on the main Twinkl landing page once I've signed on using my ultimate subscription details. I'm in the top right hand corner. I'm now going to click on Ian because that's where my account details are, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on my resources. And when I click on my resources, I'm presented with this particular screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to manage learner logins. So when I click on manage learner logins, I'll be presented with this particular page. So we've got manage learner logins and we've got manage permissions. And I'm actually going to go to manage learner logins first. And as you can see, what I've done here is I've started to set up a class list of learner logins for my individual children. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can add individual learners one at a time, and I'll do that very shortly. Or next to it, you'll see an icon with 3 figures, and that's where you can add multiple learners, because when you click on there, you'll be presented with the ability to download a template which allows you to add all the learners up to 50 for your class all in one go, and then upload that resource and it will allocate learner logins to every single child in your class. But say, for example, you had done that at the start of the year and you had a child join your class halfway through the year, for example, and you want to establish a learner login for them. Quite simply, I'm just going to click on Add Learner. And here, it's already auto-generated a username for me, has also auto-generated a password. You can regenerate because some of them are a little bit lengthy, certainly for our younger children. So you can regenerate if you so wish. But I'm just going to assign for Jimmy. Jimmy happens to be a favorite of mine. So I've got Jimmy, I've got his username and his password. He's in my class, he's in the reception year, and I'm going to put him into the Rainbows group, for example. And when I press create, it should bring him up. Yeah, there we go. We've got Jimmy on my screen, so I can continually add to those learner logins if I so wish. If I click here and I highlight all those particular children, I can produce learner login labels for them. So if I click on this icon, it's going to auto-generate labels for me, and I will hopefully open them up in this tab. And there we've got some auto-generated labels that we can send home to our learners to let parents and carers know what those details are, as well as the learner for themselves. So that's simply how you set up a learner login. If I go to now on the left-hand side to login, learner login permissions, I'm presented with a slightly different screen. So here along the top, we can see a lot of those digital products that Jasmine was referring to at the beginning of the session that are available to learners to access on their own personal learner login. We've got Twinkl Phonics for Web, for example, but you also might notice here we've got our Rhino's Reader app. Now, our Rhino's Reader app is an app that does allow learners to access books on any device through this particular app. The only thing is, with the Rhino Reader app, you cannot withhold text from children, so you can't easily give them the opportunity to say, you know, only read to see text. What it will do, it will open the floor and give them access to all different texts across all different levels. So, you know, there might be a need for you to do that, but our best bet is to say always use the learner login to allocate individual text to learners. But say, for example, you did want them to have that, if you select all, for example, that will now give them the opportunity, once they go onto their learner login platform, to have access to the Rhino's Reader app. The same for Twinkl Phonics for Web. If I give them all the opportunity to have that, because it's highlighted, it means that they will see that when they log on to their own page. What I need to do now is I need to think about, actually, I want more control rather than the Rhino Reader app. So I'm just going to take that off for a moment, of all those children. And I want more control, and I want to allocate individual books to them. So this is where I need to go to a different area. So I go back to Ian and I go back to my resources. Or sorry, I should go, my account, no, my resources are going to ask me to log in again. Bear with me, and I just do that. I will go to the other screen that I showed you. There's my resources. So here we were just at creating manage learner logins. We're now at My Rhino Readers admin. So when I click on My Rhinos Readers admin, My Rhino Readers admin, here we've got that familiar screen that Jasmine showed us just a moment ago as well. So here currently, I've got my children's name down the left-hand side there, and we're currently on level 1. You can see all the other levels running along the top there. But if I go to filter, I can then filter those texts through those particular units. So for example, if I'm delivering level 1 and I'm looking at environmental sounds, which is unit 1 within the Twinkl Phonics program, I click on there, and these are the books associated with that particular unit. So I can now, for example, if what I want to give all my learners that first text, I will click all, and it will give me the opportunity to select all of that text. If I just want individual text for certain children, I just randomly select the ones that I want, for example, along the top, along the bottom, etc., and they will be the only text that children will see when they go onto their personal learner login page. If I want to look at level 2 now, I go to level 2, for example, and I've already assigned some text to my learners within my class. So it's the same principle again. Here we've got the sweep of all level 2 texts that are available. But if I want to then look at sub-levels, I've got 2A, 2B, 2C. So I'm going to go to 2C. And I haven't allocated any 2C text to anybody yet. But say, for example, I want Harry to have that one, Jimmy to have that one, Kit to have that one, and Sammy to have that one, for example. Again, what will happen when they log in to their personal learner login, they will be the texts that are available. So I'm going to show you that now actually on the learner login page. So that was kind of the perspective of what you'll see in terms of establishing learner logins and in terms of establishing text for individuals. So I'm now on my learner logins landing page. I'm going to click learner sign in. I'm going to click a particular child that I've set up. So they will enter their username, they'll enter the password, and I'm going to sign in as a learner. And here, what you'll see now is you'll see the icons that are available to this particular learner. So remember, I gave them the opportunity to have the Phonics for Web app, so you'll see that. But here's our My Rhinos Reader library, and when I click on My Rhinos Reader library, as you can see, I mean, this is far too many that you must reassign in one go, but I just wanted to give you an example. These are all the ones that are available to the child, to the learner, that they can have access to, and then quite simply you press go, and it opens up the text, and it's literally as simple as that. So yeah, so that's how we set up learner logins and how we assign particular Rhino readers to individual learners.